I'm Nathaniel Talbot. I am the CTO at Spreedly. I love code. I love coding. Our engineers are still cleaning up code I wrote in the original version of Spreedly. And so if you're anything like me, you may be the payments geek to your friends and acquaintances. So you may have had any or all of these conversations. Someone goes, hey, so we're having trouble with our payments processing. Do you know anything about that? Or somebody might say, oh, hey, we're having major problems with fraud. Do you know anything about fraud tools? Or somebody might say, hey, there's this PCI thing, and the bank is like bugging me about it. Do you know anything? And of course, the only answer to that is go get a drink. This is going to take a while. So it's not so much that we're particularly smart, that I'm particularly smart. It's more that you have to be insane to want to navigate this maze that is payments. It's crazy, absolutely crazy to care about the nuance between an acquirer, a processor, a PSP, and a gateway. If you know what the nuances are between those things, you're going to be a big resource to those that you know. And as you have these conversations, they're going to come down to some combination of easy, horrifying, or sad. So easy is, hey, we're just getting this business going, and we need to get payment processing up and running, Stripe. And they're like, but I didn't even finish asking the question or telling you what we need, Stripe. Just use Stripe. Or Braintree, or whatever your preferred thing is for getting going. Horrifying is, hey, we've got a PCI audit it's about to start. You don't think they'll have any trouble with us keeping all the credit cards in a spreadsheet in Dropbox, right? Sad is, oh, we just lost 12 hours of revenue because our gateway was down. And oh, by the way, this is the 5th time in the last 6 months. So if you're selling payment software, though, what'll really make you weep is when you're in a sales meeting and on the other side of the table, they tell you, oh, this looks really great, but I don't think we've got this PHP app. It's about 3 years old. The engineers who wrote it are gone. We're trying to get people up on it. We can't adopt your new tech because, frankly, we're kind of stuck right now. And this is 2 minutes after they told you that this old PHP app is turning over 6 figures a month, and that they have the exact problem that you solve for. So this is just painful, right? And these kind of applications, people like to call them legacy applications. That has negative connotations. I don't really like to be negative about anything that turns over 6 figures a month. And so we were talking about this, and one of my coworkers suggested classic application. I think that's awesome. There are a lot of classic applications out there. And as we go out in fintech and payments, we run into a lot of these classic applications. And the fact of the matter is, if you have a classic car and you want to use it for your daily driver, well, if it's a gas-guzzling, polluting, leaded gasoline old car, you're going to need an engine upgrade. And the same goes for these classic applications. So I want to make a 3-part argument to you. I want to first of all argue that the vault is at the heart of every organization's, every classic application's, every startup's payment stack. The vault sits at the middle. I want to make the argument that Spreedly is an easily adopted vault, and we'll do a really quick demo in the middle that shows how a classic application might upgrade, but many different applications could use this. And then I want to make the argument that the modern vault, being on a modern vault, unlocks adoption of payments innovation within organizations. So first of all, there's this bold argument. The vault is at the heart of every organization's payment stack. What is a vault? A vault is a way to get payment information into an organization in a secure manner, a way of getting it back out, of using it on the other end, and a way to store that information securely, whether it be for 3 seconds, 3 months, or 3 years, so that the organization can make use of it. So why is this at the heart of payment stack? Well, it comes down to security and flexibility. We need to keep this data safe. It's so important. Consumers are trusting us with this information, and we've seen time and time again, breaches are happening. It's so painful. We need to keep it safe. But on the other hand, this is the commercial lifeblood, the commerce lifeblood of the organization. It has to be put to use. It needs to be used. And so the capabilities of this become defining. This security and flexibility, it's a constant fight. It's a constant battle. And as an aside, this is why, as we look out at these breaches and the companies that are struggling with PCI adoption and securing things, this is why I get frustrated sometimes, but then I have to remember myself. This is why organizations are struggling with this, because a cure that kills the patient is no good. And so organizations are trying to figure out how they can have security while still having the flexibility to actually transact. So I hope I've at least started to make the case that the vault is at the heart of the payment stack. Now, if I don't actually sell you on Spreedly, my CEO is going to get really mad. So Spreedly is payments infrastructure. We are a vault. We take payment information in securely, give you lots of different ways, and merchants lots of different ways to put payment information in. We make it super easy to get that back out and to use it. We're focused on payments. And of course, in the middle, we keep it all very safe and secure. So now I just want to do a really quick demo of how you might take a classic application. This one I just wrote a few days ago. It's already classic because I wrote it. But let's hop over to the demo really quick, and I'm going to show you just what's it look like, what would it look like to upgrade your application. So this is what it might look like. So over here, I've just built a little FinDEVr ticket. It's really creative there. So Penelope wants to come to FinDEVr. Who else has memorized test pans? So we're going to go in and just run this purchase. And on the right, you'll see this is going into my back end. Now, what we see here is that all this data is flowing straight into this back end. It's not PCI compliant. It's not flowing into any kind of tokenization. Now, this is actually hooked up to my Stripe test account over here, which I'll make a little bigger. And if we refresh that, you'll see over here that I just ran a transaction. Now, what I want to show you is show you how we can drop Spreedly into this in a way that doesn't disrupt the business process at all. Payments are still going to flow into Stripe, but it's going to revolutionize the inside of this app. So if we hop over into the editor, make this a little bit bigger, and we go and look at our form here. So this form is, let's see. Right now we have this, which is just that form we just saw. I'm going to try to, for some reason it decided to make a completely new tab for me there. So I'm going to grab my cheat. So here we have a Spreedly form. This uses Spreedly Express, which is a newer payment method input that we have. And it just makes it super easy to take an older application. There's lots of other ways that you can actually do the integration, but this makes it super easy for us to take this particular application and upgrade its form to be more awesome. So now I'm going to switch back over to here and just upgrade my actual application by taking this Spreedly code. And I'm going to replace this Stripe code right here. So right now I'm just running a Stripe charge. I'm going to change that. I've already populated my Spreedly account with my Stripe credentials, and so now I'm ready to actually transact. So now if we swap back over here and pop over here and go back to buy another ticket, now I just have a pay using credit card button, and I can pop that up. Resolution's a little funky. So now I even get loon checking, so I don't have to count. There we go. And 16, and now I'm going to do that. Now, you'll notice here on the right, now I've got a payment method token. Now only a token is coming back in, but I'm still running that transaction in Stripe. If we go over here and refresh this view, you'll see I've just run another transaction right through Stripe. So no disruption to business process, but now we've upgraded the inside of this app. So now, this is elementary. There's a lot of different ways you can use Spreedly to get information into the vault. We have iframe, fully PCI DSS compliant. We have an API if you are already PCI compliant. All these things make it super easy. So what is Spreedly? What's different about Spreedly? Why, like Stripe has a vault, Braintree has a vault, most gateways have a vault. Why use Spreedly? Well, Spreedly is software. We don't do processing. We don't care where the processing happens. And that in and of itself is really, really important. Because now all of a sudden, if you're looking for fintech adoption, you integrate into our stack, and a merchant adopts us, and they can do that processing wherever they want to. We're an infrastructure company for merchants, and then we become infrastructure for payments adoption. And we'll help merchants use their payments data however they want. Now, Stripe is awesome. You probably heard me talk about them a lot. But the thing with Stripe is they make their money off of processing. They're not fundamentally aligned with the merchant in terms of doing that transacting wherever it makes sense for the merchant, whether it's Stripe or Braintree, some combination of the two, WorldPay, First Data, a third-party API. Same thing with PayPal, same thing with all the different stacks. So Spreedly is all about transacting wherever you want to. So I just want to run through 3 quick examples now of how for a merchant this unlocks their ability to innovate in payments and to do new things that service their business well. So say you get a car from your house, you're in Madrid, and you're going to the airport. There's a good chance you use Cabify. They're car dispatching in Spanish-speaking countries. And so you get to the airport, and you get on a plane, and you get off in Mexico City. You're probably still using Cabify to get to your hotel on the other end. Well, Cabify had an issue where they were getting high decline rates as they went into different markets. And so really simple use case of Spreedly, but now they use Spreedly to plug in through our 90+ different payment gateway backends that we support, a local processor, so they transact locally. Local transactions happen locally. And this is reduced decline rates for them, and also reduced processing rates. So that's a really simple example. Let's talk about something more complicated. So SeatGeek sells a lot of tickets. They're out in New York City, and they sell sporting tickets, concert tickets, Broadway tickets. The thing about the ticketing market is that brokers control a lot of the inventory. And so SeatGeek has some of their own inventory, but then a lot of what they want to sell to consumers is happening, it's owned by, and the transaction needs to happen at a broker. So Spreedly has built what we call payment method distribution, which allows SeatGeek now, instead of having to send customers off to another site to complete the transaction, which was horrible UX, and they saw huge drop-offs. Instead, SeatGeek now vaults the customer, saves their profile in SeatGeek, and then when they want to do a transaction against a back end, they bundle that up and they ship it off to whatever backend makes sense. So the broker has an API that takes in credit card data. SeatGeek doesn't know or care who's processing that data at the end of the day. All they know is the broker's PCI compliant and that they can feed this data in so that the transaction can happen and the consumer can get the ticket that they want. The third example, and this is actually in private beta right now and launches next month in November, is cross-channel fingerprinting. So a lot of, well, not actually very many, a few gateways offer this really nice feature where if the same payment method is added multiple times, so the same credit card comes in through mobile and comes in through web, you'll get a unique fingerprint that you can use to identify it across channels. What Spreedly's doing now is inside of our own vault, we're building that fingerprint. So now all of a sudden, regardless of where that transaction is happening, what channel that payment method is coming in through, the merchant can actually recognize that it's the same consumer on the other end. And this obviously has huge impact for fraud, and it has huge impact for loyalty, and also our customers are super interested in this. We can't wait to put it in their hands to see exactly what they'll do with it. I hope you can kind of get a feeling for how this is just the tip of the iceberg. I've given you 3 examples, but this is by no means all that I could go on and on and on. And I'm sure as I sit in presentations here at FinDEVr, I'm going to come up with even more ideas for how, if a merchant is running on Spreedly, all of a sudden they're able to adopt all the cool things that are being built in fintech and in payments. things like new fraud methods, transacting against bank accounts, building business intelligence. Imagine being able to go in and not just like have to integrate to one particular gateway to pull in what's happened transactionally, but being able to attach to their Spreedly account and pull in all their transaction data and give them retroactive statistics across all that data if you're building a BI tool, disbursements, et cetera. So many things that can be done. So to reiterate, we believe at Spreedly that the vault is at the heart of every organization's payment stack. And the capabilities of that vault determines what the merchant, what the organization can and can't adopt in terms of innovation. Spreedly exemplifies a modern back-end agnostic vault. Even front-end agnostic, you can use, we don't care, we provide the API, so if you've got a new awesome way to take in credit card information, you can hook it up to Spreedly so that anyone using Spreedly instantly gets an instant onboard to use that new method of taking in credit card information or bank account information. And then finally, the final point being that this unlocks the adoption of payments and of fintech, and that's kind of the case I want to make, and that I'd love to talk to any and all of you about over the course of the next 2 days. So the next time you're at that party, or you're sitting across from across the sales table talking to prospect, and they're like, oh yeah, really like this, but it's hard to adopt. Or someone says, oh, I got this PCI problem. I really need to upgrade this in our organization. Our payments needs an overhaul. Hopefully now you've got a new tool in your tool belt. You can tell them, oh, you should really look at Spreedly. I think it could really help you as an organization and as a merchant upgrade your setup. Thank you so much. Come by our booth. Myself and Jenna Wire are here for the next 2 days, and of course have the booth today. Would love to talk to you. And these are our the credits for the different awesome Flickr images that we used. Thank you so much.